Okay, here we are, week 6 of the 2023-2024 season, NFL season. So let's start talking about who we think is going to make the playoffs. All right, so this here's a new video for me, so the format might change. So this is my first stab at it. If you have any thoughts on it, drop me a note, and we'll see what we can do. So let's start off with the NFC East. So right now, uh, this is the current number of wins, the current order. And this is so Philadelphia had 5 wins, Cowboys have 3. And right now, the model is projecting that both teams should end up at 12 and 5. Okay, so that'll be interesting. So right now, Philadelphia's been looking good. They're undefeated. The Cowboys, I would say, are not looking that good. But right now, with the way the data is looking, certainly within that division, this is what this is what the model is looking like. Doesn't mean that uh, I don't think it's really possible for New York Giants to get within the point that they're going to do significantly better. Note the model says that they should end up going 0-17, but they've already got 1 win. But that notwithstanding, I'm not sure anyone would argue that the order here is probably pretty close, with Dallas and Philly fighting for that top spot. A couple things I'll point out then is I'm going to go through and say here's the current number of wins, current losses, if there's any ties. This is what the current point for and a point against are with their cumulative or with their current differential. This adjusted is based upon if you were to play this out over the current, take this rate and expand it out over the rest of the season. Then I have what the model had for the projected losses, projected wins, losses, the point for, points against, and the differential. So I do find that these things are a good way to figure out to match up how well the model is compared to real life. And there's a couple things here. Notice the projected that the model has of for the New York Giants of minus 323 isn't that far off from what the New York Giants are trending towards. So, and then the same thing uh, at the top spot here with Philly. I will say that the model is, or I'm sorry, in reality, Dallas is trending towards a much higher number than what the model has them at, which we'll see how that plays out. So anyhow, NFC East, that's who I'm picking to be the top 2. NFC North. Now this one's interesting. I'm not sure. Well, what makes it interesting is how often Detroit fans get to see a prediction saying that their team should not only be the top of their division, but 16 wins. That's what the model is currently calling for, and I would say, quite frankly, they've been playing pretty darn good, and provided considering how they finished last year and that they continue that. While 17-1 probably isn't quite what I would expect, or 16-1, um, I would expect that they should continue to do good, provided they don't have any significant injuries. What I do find surprising here, of course, when you look at this, it's a pretty mediocre, or actually, it's just a downright poor performance. Um, you've got a couple of 1 and 2 win teams there. The model is saying that uh, of those lower 3 teams, Minnesota should be able to emerge from this with a record of about 10-7. I'm guessing that that's probably uh, a bit optimistic, but then again, they do put up yards. They can start finding ways to win games. It's not inconceivable. But then again, and I would expect that Minnesota should be able to finish second to Detroit above the Chicago Bears. But Green Bay has been looking better than what I think most people expected. But the model is saying, hey, they're not that good. They're saying that Minnesota should be better than they are. So we will see how that plays out. All right, let's take a look at the NFC South. This one is interesting. So we show here a three-way ties where we're currently at, 3 teams with 3 wins. And the model is saying that Tampa Bay should finish in third with 10 wins, and then that there should be a tie for second between Atlanta and New Orleans. I will point out that it's saying that New Orleans should project to have a better point differential, and that projected what the model is saying at the end of the season matches up pretty darn close to what this has up here. Uh, the actual or the adjusted point differential for Atlanta of minus 44 is says that the model is at this point in time saying that they um, that Atlanta's either, depends on your perspective is underperforming or the model is overprotecting. We'll see how that goes. I'm not sure. I think both teams are probably mediocre, and uh, and I think Tampa Bay is in fact the lesser of those three as well. So that'll be interesting to see how that really comes out. And of course, we've got uh, Carolina coming in at 0 wins and 17 losses. I'm not sure that anyone's overly shocked to hear that, but we will see how that goes. All right. NFC West. Okay. So we've got the Niners, which have been just totally rocking. And the model is saying that they should continue to do that. Next up, though, is it's saying that Seattle should finish up as a 13-win team. I forget how they finished last year. I think they made the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. And so I think this overall projection looks pretty darn similar to how it really finished up last year. Again, this model does not reference any of what occurred last year. This model only references current stats up to date, and uses Monte Carlo simulation method to play out games. In this case, I played out each game from the entire season 25 times, and I can run that again. I can do it for as many times as I want. Processing power, and again, I'm going to do this every week, and these results will change. But again, right now, I don't think anyone's surprised to see San Francisco is currently leading and projected to win the West, NFC West, with, quite frankly, the Seattle and the Rams is it's definitely given an advantage to Seattle, but I would not be surprised if the Rams can either play up and Seattle might just very well level off. We'll see. Okay, the AFC East, no big surprises here, showing Miami and Buffalo being the top two, and the model is going to point to it and say Miami is as good as they look to be. Interestingly enough, the model is saying that they should go undefeated, but they've already got a loss. That notwithstanding, again, winning the NFL is always by slim margins. So to see a deviation from that is not too terribly unexpected. One thing I would point out is the model says, "Hey, look at this point differential, 332 points," whereas the adjusted, based upon what they've currently been um, going towards. So it's going to take that current point differential and play that out over the rest of the season. And again, just taking that multiplier, how much of the season's left. So definitely have some difference there. But model's also saying, hey, look at this, 10 wins for Buffalo. That puts them pretty darn close to the Jets as well. So Buffalo, I know that they should be good, but they're not performing that good. So we'll see how that plays out. And again, the Jets, just imagine if they had a quarterback, it just really sucked for Aaron Rodgers and that franchise that they had. Certainly an elite quarterback who's capable of playing that way. And man, it just because no doubt that a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers can take a projected 7-win team and make them a 13, 14-win team. So right now, I think that they are looking to finish somewhere if they can play up, maybe flip that around and sneak in as a wild card. AFC North. So the model is showing that Baltimore should be winning that. But what's interesting is it skips, and right now, Pittsburgh has 3 again early. 3-2 Pittsburgh Steelers versus 2-2 Cleveland Browns. Is the model saying that, hey, the Browns should be better. We will see how that really works out. I'm not sure that I'm really buying the Browns. What I also find interesting is the model is not sold on Cincinnati in any way, shape, or form. And I think we all know that Joe Burrow is capable of being probably the best quarterback in the NFL. Thus far, that team has not shown that. I think they've already won 2 games. Yeah, they've already won two. They've only looked good in one of them. And so that's what the model is reflecting. Uh, do I think, and when you have a quarterback like Joe Burrow, these numbers can change really fast. But then again, there's more to the team than just Joe Burrow. So we'll see how that starts to reflect. AFC South. So right now we have 2 3-win teams in Indianapolis and Jacksonville, and that is indeed who the model is saying should win, uh, both with 10 or 11 win seasons. And quite frankly, I think when you look at those teams, you think, yeah, that sounds about right. So that's about what the model is bringing up. I would point out that uh, Houston and Tennessee uh, are, I think, better than what their numbers suggest right now. I think Houston probably has a lot more upside given CJ Stroud is showing that he is a no kidding for real NFL quarterback. And I think Tennessee is probably better than a 2-win team, just given as how they've got a strong defense and a run heavy game. And Ryan Tannehill isn't going to win many games for him, but I think he's probably not going to lose that many games for him the way some quarterbacks have. So we'll see. The AFC West. So this is interesting. Uh, yeah, everyone watches Patrick Mahomes and says that that dude's just awesome. In fact, they're leading right now, 4-1. The model, however, is saying that they're a 10-win team. Meanwhile, the Chargers should be a 14-win team. The Chargers have already lost 3, so this model is saying that they're due to lose one more and win the rest. Um, I'm not sure anyone really. Well, when we look at the other 2 teams here, the Raiders and the Broncos, I don't think that this division is really what we ever thought it could be. That for sure. So it really is a 2-team division. We'll see. But quite honestly, I think the Chargers always have a lot of potential. I just have yet to really see them realize it. I would be just my eyeballs tell me that aside from talent, the talent probably is the right order for these two. However, I think the way that those teams, organizations execute, I would envision Kansas City being the 14-win team and the Chargers being a 10-win team, just based on history alone. So anyhow, this is a new idea. I'd love to hear your ideas on what you think, and then I'm going to go ahead and take these projections and I'm going to do a head-to-head matchup amongst all these teams to see which one I think is going to turn out to be the best of the NFC, the best of the AFC, and then play a mock Super Bowl. I will do that this week. Anyhow, hope if you like what you listen to, like and subscribe, drop me a note.